The Ultimate Iron Man is about to get a massive change. A couple of months ago, I made a video called UIM is Broken, where I talked about some of the inconsistencies with the game mode and common frustrations that I hear from the community. I'll link that in the description below if you want some more context on that video. Well, with the release of Poll 79, Jagex posed questions aimed at fixing some of these issues. In fact, 3 of the 5 topics that I raised in my video were polled here, with one other being a bug fix that I hope will come in the future, and the final suggestion being something that would require quite a bit more dev work. Let's take a look at the poll to see what was offered. Basically, we have 3 Ultimate Iron Man items here: looting bag, stash unit, and spice rack changes. I'm going to start by addressing the smaller changes, and then we'll work our way up to the big one. These days, Jagex makes an effort to poll questions that might impact the UIM game mode in UIM restricted poll questions. When the spice rack was originally released, for some reason, this was just decided as something that would be blocked for all ultimates, rather than poll it to the community. If you're not familiar with what the spice rack is, the TLDR is that it's a POH storage where you can store spices for spicy stews. You still have to gather the stews yourself. You don't get like an infinite supply once you build the rack. So the storage is a super small quality of life change and really doesn't have any impact on UIM other than making spice gathering slightly less annoying. Nice to have, yes. Meaningful, barely. This question passed with about 87% yes. The next items from this poll that I want to go over are the stash unit changes. Stash units are very inconsistent in the game. Some allow upgraded items to be stored in them, while others do not. Poll 79 offered changes to 3 of the different stash units. We were asked if we should be able to store an Abyssal Tentacle in the Whip stash in Draenor, Guardian Boots in the Bandos Boot stash in Zolandra, and finally, the ability to store Primordial Boots in the stash unit under the Heroes Guild. Stashes are unique in that you can't just pull out one item from them, it's all or nothing. So for ultimates, the catch is that we usually have to take out items that we don't really want, and either keep them in our inventory, or sometimes we can put them in a looting bag if they're tradable. That's the trade-off here, and it helps to balance the power of the stashes. So while being able to store items in these is nice and seems really strong, it's actually not as powerful as you might think. Many stronger stashes than these 3 that were polled already exist for UIMs today, like the one in the Warriors Guild or the Bofa stash. The biggest of these 3 is probably the ability to store prims, since that's usually a keep item for late game UIMs, but is this actually changing any big metas? Well, no, not really. At least personally, I keep prims on my UIM, and I probably won't be using this stash. It's worth noting that for some reason the Nezi Helm stash wasn't pulled with the ability to store a face guard. This seems a little bit strange to me since we're trying to make stashes more consistent here, and this one seems to have just been left out. But who knows, maybe we'll see it in the future. All stash unit questions passed with over 90% yes. Now that brings us to the big poll question, buyable looting bags. If you want a deeper history about when buyable looting bags existed before, why they were removed, and why not having them has been a problem for ultimates, there's some more info about that at the beginning of my UIM is Broken video. All you really need to know here is that you could previously only get looting bags from wilderness monsters or from last man standing. UIMs get PK'd in the low-level wilderness all the time. If you want to see how dangerous it is, you can check out my video about UIMs getting PK'd for billions. Anyway, with this change, there's a new option for obtaining looting bags that's much more palatable for UIMs. These bags will be purchasable from the Slayer shops for 10 Slayer points apiece. It's worth noting that obtaining bags from LMS or from the wilderness will still be the faster and more efficient options, but this is a nice option for anyone who doesn't enjoy PvP or doesn't want to risk their stuff. This has been a huge reason why so many people that I've spoken to have chosen not to try UIM, and I hope that with this change releasing soon, more will be encouraged to give Ultimate Iron Man a try. Buyable looting bags passed the poll with 85% yes. So with these changes, did UIM get completely turned on its head? Is it just easy mode now? No, in fact, for a lot of people like me, this won't actually change anything about how we play. A lot of us have hundreds of looting bags stacked up, are past the point of needing to spice boost, and don't really need the additional utility that stash unit changes are bringing here. But for newer ultimates or people considering trying out the game, there has never been a better time to give it a shot. And if you're burnt out of grinding GP on Mainscape or want to play the same game but in a completely new way, I really can't recommend trying out Ultimate Ironman highly enough. And if you have any questions about the game mode, I am more than happy to answer them in the comments. A sincere and heartfelt thank you to Jagex for listening to the community on these. I really appreciate the JMod's time and effort here, and if you are interested in more UIM content, I make a lot of it, so check out one of the videos on screen now. If you could drop a like on your way out and maybe consider subscribing to help me reach 10k subs, I would really appreciate it. I'll see you all with another video soon.